LG is a nice upgrade, but is it enough to compete with the other competitors for 2023? Is it worth the price? That's what I'm going ahead and discuss in today's review. I've been on this TV every single day for almost a month since I got it. In my first video, you have seen my unboxing and side-by-side comparisons. I'm here to finally give you a review. Let's start off with the build quality. While having this TV for a month, I haven't had any issues with the TV. The TV hasn't broken down or any hardware issues where the TV cut off itself. The LG C3 TV has a brushed metallic look around the borders. On the back, all the ports are facing one way, which I like. Whereas the previous C2 or C1, the ports were, some of them were on the side and others were directly behind the TV. LG provides 4 HDMI 2.1 that is capable for 4K 120. Besides the build, the LG really needs to up their game by switching out their remote. The remote is seriously outdated and needs an upgrade. Samsung and Sony has removed the numbers on their remote, and LG should do the same by switching that out for next year. Another thing that I consider as an upgrade this year is the LG webOS. This year, the webOS is not cluttered and overwhelming like the previous versions. LG made it a lot simpler with the home screens and give user a faster way to navigate through the home menu. If you want to know which is better compared to Samsung and Sony, I will rate LG right below Sony Google OS. For LG webOS, I would say that it's much better and easier to navigate compared to Samsung Tizen. In switching to the sound for this year, I like the AI Sound Pro compared to the previous versions. Here's a quick demo. If you're wondering about the eARC, I didn't have any issues when connecting this TV to any of my sound system. Now let's switch to the picture quality. How does it perform? The LG C3 is an upgrade compared to the C1 when it comes to depth, detail, specular highlights, and HDR impact. Now if I was going to compare the C3 to the C2, it would be very similar to each other, besides some minor differences with brightness. When it comes to detail and specular highlights, the C3 did a better job against the Sony A90J depending on the content. But the majority of the time the C3 had a more HDR impact compared to the Sony A90J. With the default picture settings, I did notice a yellow push when it comes to watching content. I also noticed black crush and polarization when I compared it to the Sony A90J and even the Samsung S95C. After making picture setting changes based on Classy recommendation, I was able to fix some of the issues while getting this TV professionally calibrated. When it comes to motion handling, I would say that it is very comparable to the Sony A90J. So when it comes to gaming, I'm going to go ahead and split this up into two different sections, one for HDR gaming and one for SDR gaming. For HDR gaming, I think LG has done a good job in the gaming category where you're able to get to 4K 120. I do wish that they was able to do 4K at 144 Hz, especially for PC owners. But one thing that kind of stuck out the most when playing games is the polarization. Right now, I'm giving you a clear example of Destiny where I'm kind of like showing a little bit of the polarization. I just pulled up the game menu just to give people an idea that it is present, and I hope that LG do address that in future models. But that's one thing that I have noticed when I play HDR gaming. Now, if I want to compare gaming against the other competitors like Sony and Samsung, I would say Samsung will take the crown as one of the better TVs for gaming, just simply because that Samsung did make some updates when it comes to the picture area, when it comes to polarization. And then I will talk about a little bit more in SDR gaming, where I think LG needs to unlock some of the picture settings for SDR gaming. Now, switching up to the SDR gaming, this is something that I hope that LG listens to or comes out with a firmware update that they will unlock their picture setting when it comes to brightness, when it comes to SDR gaming. Now, I know I'm not the only one who mentioned this, but Tech with KG and a lot of other creators has mentioned this numerous times with the current LG TVs and the previous LG TVs when it comes to SDR gaming, that you're unable to unlock or go up on the brightness when it comes to game mode. I know there are some workarounds where you could get out of game mode, which I haven't done because I think that's something that LG needs to fix on its own, but it would be nice to see if you can unlock this. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and compare it against the Samsung and the Sony TV, I would say that on the Samsung and Sony, when it comes to their game mode, you do not have this issue where you're locked into a specific picture setting. You do have the option to customize it to the ability that you like. But when it comes to LG, on the other hand, when it comes to SDR gaming specifically, this is something that where you're going to have the issue. Besides those issues that I just mentioned earlier, when it comes to HDR gaming or 4K 120, especially when it comes to first person shooters, any person who is a gamer will be happy of getting this TV. So here's my final thoughts on the LG C3. I think this TV is a great TV. However, the issue that I have at this moment with the C3 is the price. So at the time of this recording, when I'm looking at this, the C3 is going for the 65-inch version. It's going for $2,399.99 compared to a C2, which is going for $1,699.99. Both TVs are very similar to each other. Unless you had those TVs side by side with each other, I will go with the C2 on this one. Now, once the C2 runs out and you're unable to buy them, I think the C3 is a good option as well, especially if you're looking for a monitor you can't beat when it comes to a 42-inch or a 48-inch or higher. This is one of the things that I think LG has done a good job. But besides the issue that I mentioned when it comes to SDR gaming and the posterization, when it comes to detail, HDR impact, when it comes to brightness, I think the C3 has done a fantastic job, an amazing job for what it could do. But one of the other issues that I also find it with, especially when it comes to price range, is going against the Samsung S90C. So those are kind of like the things that I think about when comparing these TVs, especially at this price bracket, if the C3 is really worth it. At this price, no, I don't think it's worth it right now. If you're thinking about getting this TV or the S90C, those are kind of like the things that I have to think about. I think the S90C will be a better option, especially for those who are into gaming. Now, if I'm not comparing it to the C2 and you think about upgrading from a C1 or even from previous versions, I would say the C3 is a great TV in that aspect if the price is right. But if you're thinking about going to LG, if you're coming from Samsung or Sony, I think LG is a good option as well too. But it just right as it stands right now, when it comes to pricing wise, I kind of wish that LG has done a better job when it comes to the pricing category against its competitors. But other than that, talking about pricing at this moment right now, when it comes to everything else, yeah, I think the C3 is a very capable TV and it does a good job. It checks pretty much all the boxes besides the issues that I just mentioned in this review. But if that's something that you're looking to get, then yeah, the C3 should be on your bucket list for 2023 once the prices started to go down on this TV. But besides that, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. If you could do me a favor by hitting that like button and that subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.